iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cars. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, today we're going to have the New York Metropolitans. That's right, meet the Mets. We're going to meet the Mets with our podcast in just a bit. But we're just going to go through some baseball news and notes. A very big piece of news here. Very big, if you're a Red Sox fan at least. John Farrell, the manager, says that the Red Sox will allow David Price to attempt to throw Friday or Saturday. He's starting to feel better. They're going to leave it up to him. I don't usually like when they leave it up to the players, but we learned something from Dr. David Chow, who was our NFL injury expert, and he used to be the team doctor for the San Diego Chargers for a number of years. And he said it's three people in the NFL, three groups: the player, including his agent, the coaching staff, and the doctors. They all need to agree. I would believe that's the same thing in baseball. Now, I can't confirm that, and I will try to confirm that for you. I have a friend who's a team doctor. He's very busy this time of year, but I will get with him at some point, and I'll ask him that. I'm sure that he reads I know he's a radiologist. He reads the stuff, and I don't know at that point whether or not he's consulted. But I've got to think the player, the agent, the coaches, the GM, they're all getting together and discussing this. Because we can't just leave it up to the players or the management. If it was a management, don't worry about it, don't rush, take your time, take your time. If I'm a player, I'm going to want to come back too quickly. So there's got to be a little give and take somewhere. It's got to be a little give and take. Okay? So we're going to watch that closely, but still very excited for him. Next, excited for Matt Harvey. Had a good bullpen session, they said. And, he's building on last year, trying to come back healthy. Hasn't been healthy. But if he is, obviously Matt Harvey is as good as they come. So he's a guy I'm watching closely. We'll be talking about that with the Mets soon, right, when we do our podcast. Dallas Keuchel is going to make his Grapefruit League debut this weekend against the Nationals. That's exciting. Todd Frazier will make his debut today. He's been dealing with an oblique injury. He'll make his debut today. That's exciting. Dansby Swanson is dealing with a little back injury. I'm not worried about it. My guy, Didi Gregorius, 3 for 4, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. I'm just throwing it out there. If you check our Scout Fantasy Preseason Pro, Didi Gregorius, an AL sleeper for you. I like him. And he will be on our Yankee podcast when that comes up shortly. So, there are a lot of players, and you're going to be seeing a lot of things over the next couple days. This guy gets sent down to the minors. This guy not doing well. Just keep your eyes and ears open. I don't want to decide anything yet. Just because a guy gets sent down doesn't mean I'm not interested. He could come up soon, right? So, just for an example, Shelby Miller surrendered 6 runs in 2 2/3 innings, right? Sonny Gray was pounded as well. We know these guys are problems. They're going to start the season in the rotation. But what if Shelby Miller really is as bad as I think he is? And I do think he's bad. Bad. Heinous. I told you not to touch him. He's going to get sent down in about, 2 months, by June 1st. Then the minor leaguer that was sent down now, the AA guy, the AAA guy, he comes up. So I think we get so caught up in, my guy's not starting the season with the team. I'm okay with that. On occasion, I'm okay with that. So long as I think the player's going to be up sooner rather than later, I'm interested. If I think the guy's going to come up in September, I'm not interested. If I think he's going to come up in August, not interested. If I think he's going to come up in June or before, I'm interested. I'll shove him on my reserve squad and I'll wait. I'll wait and see what happens. All right, let's get to our New York Mets podcast. And if there's anybody who knows about the Mets, it's me. Growing up in New York, I am one of the few people that I can say truly roots for the Yankees and the Mets. I would say that in different points in my life, I rooted for both teams. I grew up a Yankee fan, a very big Yankee fan. My grandfather was a Yankee fan. My dad's a huge Yankee fan. Then, of course, probably in my teens when the Mets were really good with Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry, admittedly so, the Yankees were running through some lean years, and I watched all the Met games, and I loved watching the Mets. I did. Then, of course, the Yankees came back and resurfaced with Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez and Chuck Knobloch and all those guys, Paul O'Neill. I remember sitting in the stadium next to Paul O'Neill's sister, talking to her and thinking, wow, I'm back with the Yankees. Now I feel like I have allegiances both ways. I'm one of those few guys that can do that. Some people get so caught up, I can't like one or the other. I can appreciate them both. I can. I just always think the New York Mets are run poorly. I do. Maybe it's getting better, but I still think at the end of the day, they're not run real well. They're always looking to the back pages to make their moves. But let's start at catcher. Travis d'Arnaud was brought over by the Mets years ago from the Toronto Blue Jays to be their catcher of the future, and we have never really seen that. We've never seen him stay healthy. We've never seen him have the year that we've been hoping for. And I don't know whether we will. I truly don't know whether we ever will. Supposedly, he has a new swing this season. He's fixed his swing. It's more compact. Okay, I'm ready to believe that. Let me see 15 home runs first before I buy in. I can't buy in until I see 15 home runs, and I don't know if I ever will. I really don't. So, yes, I'll look at d'Arnaud, but he's the 12th catcher on my list. I'm not running into this guy. I'll take him if I have to, not because I want to. Lucas Duda is their first baseman, and Duda's got power, but he's never going to be a high average guy, and he really doesn't hit lefties very well. So Lucas Duda's going to end up platooning with Wilmer Flores. Wilmer Flores crushes lefties, and the Mets want this guy to play. So Flores can play second, short, third. He's a pretty decent ball player. He's a handy guy to have around a team because he can do a little bit of everything. Now, there was a time when the Mets thought they were trading Flores to the Brewers, and he was crying. Remember all that? So I like his passion. I like that this guy wants to be good. Lucas Duda is going to get every opportunity to be the first baseman for the Mets so long as he's healthy. If he's healthy, he's the guy. But Wilmer Flores will get about 300 at-bats this season, and I think he's a really good player in daily. When the Mets play a lefty, I'm in on Wilmer Flores. I admit it. I'm in on him. I like him, and I highly recommend you guys taking a look at him in daily against the lefty. At second base, the Mets have Neil Walker. And they brought him over from Pittsburgh last year, and he came in, and he had a very good season. 23 home runs, 55 RBIs. He had hit 23 home runs a couple of years ago, but I think the guys in Pittsburgh didn't think that would happen again. But the power resurfaced, and he only had 412 at-bats. He wasn't healthy. He had back surgery. So I really do like Neil Walker. Neil Walker is great against righties, not so good against lefties. So here we are against righties, and Lucas Duda and Neil Walker. It's a good lineup. Against lefties, it's not so good. And that's the problem with the Mets. The Mets just don't have enough guys who can hit both sides. At shortstop is a guy named Asdrubal Cabrera. And I just don't think people realize how good this guy is. I don't know even if I realize how good this guy is. From 2011 to 2016, so 6 years, ready? 25 and 92, 1668, 1464, 1461, 1558, 2362. Always getting you a handful of steals. Has had as few as 5 and as many as 17. And always hits around that 260, 270. That's a pretty good player. He never seems to go in anything but like round 18 or 19 in drafts. That guy's not going to hurt you. That guy's going to help you. And in on-base percentage league, he's actually a little better. He's hovering around maybe, last year was a good year for him. I don't know if he replicates that, but last year was a pretty good year for him with that. So I like Cabrera, and I think most people overlook Cabrera. And those are guys that we look for. So I want to talk about this for a second. I'm going to go to a ranking list, if I can, at shortstop. Okay? So I love doing this, and I normally do this on air, but I'll do it right here. Player A, I'm going to give him 272, 25 home runs, 75 RBIs, 1 stolen base, 70 runs scored. Player B, I'm going to say 270, 20 home runs, 60 RBIs, 70 runs scored, and 5 stolen bases. Player A is Troy Tulowitzki. Player B is Asdrubal Cabrera. Why does Troy Tulowitzki always go like 5 or 6 rounds higher? Always. Tulowitzki will go in round 12. Cabrera will go in round 17. They're pretty much the same player. What are we talking about? 2 more home runs? 2 more RBIs? Really? I mean, the same player. So I think people tend to forget that. Here's what I'm not forgetting. I'm not forgetting that David Wright is not healthy. David Wright is just not healthy. There is no way, no how, no chance. I don't want David Wright in any way, shape, or form. He's never going to be on my team. He's never going to be on my radar screen at all. David Wright, done. Done. But I want you to look at Jose Reyes very closely. Jose Reyes qualified at third base last year. Okay? He may even see some shortstop if Cabrera should get hurt. They even played him in the outfield for an inning or two in spring training. But this guy's going to be the starting third baseman for the Mets. And what if he plays well? What if Reyes bats leadoff? What if Reyes hits 290 and steals 25 bases? Who does that at third base? Practically no one. And you could probably get Jose Reyes at this point real late in your draft. Real late in your draft. Guys aren't taking him. Right? They're not. I'm going to take a look here at the Tout last night, and I'm going to try to find a couple of things. I mean, this is from the Tout Wars mixed auction. Asdrubal Cabrera went in round 18. Okay? Round 18 was Cabrera. Now I want to find for us Jose Reyes round 21. Are you kidding me? I'll take Jose Reyes in round 21. Guy can hit 290, 10 home runs, and steal 20 bases. That's worth round 21 for me. So, yeah, I'm in on Jose Reyes. The Mets outfield is probably a strength, and one of their top players isn't even playing. So you have Yoenis Cespedes. I mean, this guy is just a guy who can carry a team for weeks on end. I mean, he's as streaky as they come, but when he's locked in, man, this is a good player. It's a really good player. I mean, 35 and 100 seems very logical. Will hit, 280, 290. This is a very good player. Mets re-signed him this year to a big deal. They're in on him, and I have no problem with that. At center field, the Grandy man. That's right, Curtis Granderson's still getting it done. Can't hit a lefty worth of crap, but he still hits righties. Still should hit 20 to 25 home runs. Still going to hit about 240. But there is use for Granderson. I mean, not a lot of RBIs, but he could probably about lead off if Reyes doesn't. And I think he would slot in very nicely number 2. Maybe he'd get a lot of fastballs if Reyes gets on first base. So I'm a fan. Not a huge fan, but enough of a fan to take a shot on him. In right field will be Jay Bruce. Now, the Mets really have no interest in Jay Bruce. They want him done. They want him out. They really want Michael Conforto to be their guy. But they can't trade Bruce right now, so here's what happens. Jay Bruce is going to remain a Met. He's going to hit, on pace for 30 home runs and 90 RBIs and hit about 250 to 260 because that's what Jay Bruce does. Ideally, the Mets hold Jay Bruce until about the All-Star break when they trade him for a young minor leaguer. And who comes up? Michael Conforto comes right up, slides right into right field, and is the Mets right fielder for the next 10 years. And Michael Conforto is 24 years old. He's going to be a very good player. He just needs the opportunity to learn on the job. If there is a DH in the National League, which, by the way, I really wish there were, sometimes, and then sometimes I wish there isn't, Michael Conforto would play, but there's no spot for him right now. So I would draft Conforto. I have no problem with it. Conforto went in round 21 last night. Not a bad idea. Stick him on your reserve squad. Maybe the guy does something interesting. All right, at closer, Juris Familia is going to be out for a little bit because there was some domestic violence issues. At some point, the league is going to give him a suspension. Could be 10 games, 20 games, 30 games. So we'll have to see. He is the Mets closer. Now, if he's not around to close, Addison Reed will be the guy. And Addison Reed was lights out last year. 77 and 2/3 innings, 60 hits, 4 home runs, 91 strikeouts. I mean, that's a year. That's a big-time year from Addison Reed. So I think what a very clever move is that guys are doing is they're picking up Addison Reed and just saying, look, maybe I'll get 5-7 saves from him, and then I'll toss him. I have no problem with that. As long as you don't take him too soon. You want to take Addison Reed at the end of your draft? I would think that's a brilliant pick. And if you get familiar and you want to take Addison Reed as a backup for him, as a handcuff for him, I would think that would be brilliant as well. No problem with that. Big fans of the Mets bullpen. Jerry Blevins is all right too. And maybe even Rafael Montero might emerge. Okay, but where the Mets are special. The Mets are special in their starting rotation. First of all, the guy they call Thor, Noah Syndergaard, 24 years old, and he really is a special pitcher. He is. He's a special pitcher. We haven't seen the best of him yet. We haven't even seen close to the best of him yet. He's only pitched 183 innings as high. He hasn't even given us the 220 yet. The Mets are taking their time with him, and he is a great pitcher and a surefire second-round pick. And I highly encourage you, if you need a starter on your staff, to take Noah Syndergaard. He's that good. Middle of the second round, you want to take Paul Goldschmidt, come back Syndergaard? I love it. I don't like it. I love it. Syndergaard is real deal. Ace. You know who was also an ace? Maybe not on the Mets, but on another team, Jacob deGrom. If Jacob deGrom is healthy, now they had to clean out his ulnar nerve and his pitching elbow. Okay, it's not Tommy John. They just had to clean it out. But he touched 97 miles per hour recently. And I love this guy in Daly. In Daly, he's great at home. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. 148 innings, 143 strikeouts. Year prior, 191 innings, 205 strikeouts. So this is a fireballer. On most teams, he'd be a number one starter, just not on the Mets. But on your fantasy team, he could be your number one. And he's certainly a great pick in the 4th or 5th round. I love it. Now, the third guy is Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey's dealing with a neck issue. He's still not 100%. The Mets really had to be careful with him last year because he was injured. He had thoracic outlet syndrome. I mean, who knows what? I think he had numbness in his hand. He was a mess. But Matt Harvey is a sensational pitcher. So here's what I want you to do with Matt Harvey. I want you to take Matt Harvey as your third pitcher off the board. I want him to be your SP3 on your team. Now, if that means you lose him and he goes to somebody else, so be it. Okay? Now, a guy last night, I think his name is Jeff Bogus and Tout, took Max Scherzer in the 2nd round and he took Matt Harvey in 9. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Terrible draft. And he took David Dahl, who's injured. And Adrian Gonzalez is on his way down. This is one of the worst drafts I've ever seen, by the way. That's neither here nor there. I don't want Harvey as my number 2. I want Harvey as my number 3. So if I took Steven Strasburg 1 and I took Kenta Maeda 2, I have no problem with Matt Harvey as my 3. But I think when Matt Harvey's my 2, it's a little too much pressure on him to be good, and if he's not, you're in trouble. Okay, so do you see what I'm saying with that? Be careful. Steven Matz went in the 11th round last night. Here's another guy that just can't stay healthy, but when he pitches, he's sensational. He's 25 years old, but he's had an injury history going back to when he was a kid. I mean, he's never thrown more than 132 innings, which is what he did last year. I mean, is he going to go to 180? Maybe. I think he gets 30 starts, but they could shut him down easily at 180. I mean, he is not a durable guy. I really want Matz to be my 4th starter. 4th starter would be ideal. 3rd, maybe, but I really want 4th. Okay? Take a look at Robert Gsellman. I know it's a hard name to say. Gsellman, hey, what's your name? Gsellman. I run like a Gsellman. But he's 23 years old, and he had 7 very good starts for the Mets at the end of the year last year. He's their 5th starter. Keep your eye on him. I think he could be an impact guy that you can get very, very late in drafts. Okay? But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I want to encourage you to check out scoutfantasy.com. We have so much going on there for baseball right now, it's ridiculous. Our preseason pro, which is our special sleepers and bust issue. Our rankings from me, Sean Childs, and Adam Ronis. Sean Childs' team outlooks, Adam Ronis' player profiles, my podcast, my Fantasy in a Nutshell series, our rankings. I can't even begin to tell you what we're doing, and the season hasn't even started yet. Plus, we'll be doing daily and message board. It's a great time to be a member of Scout Fantasy, and I encourage you to do it. All right, we're back next with the New York Yankees podcast. I wish you a great day. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!